One time my mother was just sitting and watching TV after a long day of work. I just farted in her face, and then she beat me up with with a vegetable. I'm Suvansh. I'm from the class of 2023. I do kind of enjoy playing like characters off stage. If I'll be sitting in the airport, right, or any place where I know I'm speaking to a stranger where I won't meet them again, it's always a different story. It's always a different hometown. It's always a different reason for traveling. It's a fun, low stakes form of lying, right? And like ever since I was a kid, I've always kind of been like thrusted onto stage. I'm just like a band-aid for whatever, like just put me on stage, it'll work out. I have a love-hate relationship with the stage. Most of the deepest kind of friendships and relationships that I've forged have been with people that I worked with in a theatrical context. I still think like sharing a stage and working long-term on stage is one of the best ways to kind of ironic as it is to get to know the person behind the mask. Like whenever I'm on there, it's just like, yeah, okay, it's fine. Like, it's just why are we like looking at me right now? You know, it's so in that sense, like I'm not like other actors. Like I'm not the oh yeah spotlight on. Even though it may seem like it. In my house, it used to be that like my grandparents used to be really focused on oh, Hindi, mother language, mother tongue, preserve Hindi, it is your mother tongue. And then I go back, and I go back to my parents' room upstairs, and and they're just like, no, beta, you must focus on your English. You need English to go ahead in urban India. So there was always that kind of tension within my house. You see like stand-up comics coming and saying, oh yeah, if you know English, you're like 10 times hotter anyway. Ha ha ha. I'll say something like, oh, what a phenomenal gig, and girls would be all over me just because I spoke it in English. I love cussing in Hindi, man. That's one thing I never really enjoyed as much in English because it's just more like cussing has more of a vocabulary in Hindi. Like the words themselves, really. Like there's a certain level of like ingenuity in like Hindi cuss words. And yeah, I sound really immature right now. We were leading a field trip to a couple of cities in India for a bunch of 11th graders. And my friend, who is a connoisseur of all things illicit, decides it's a nice idea to hire a scooter and leave in the middle of the night on a trip of debauchery and just general law breaking. And suddenly the faculty who came with us like kind of came out and they were like, hey, instinctively, like without like, instead of saying oh shit run or oh shit sorry we'll go back, I was just like, you wanna come? And then they came with us, going around the streets of Ahmedabad at 3 a.m. That was a night to remember. I take most of my pleasures in my stride, like an excess of sugar. I've had days where like there's a fucking bag full of like, I don't know, Hershey's Kisses or something. 3 hours later, there's a bag full of Hershey's Kisses wrappers. That's my Achilles heel. That's my weak spot. Sound like a 50-year-old diabetic man. No, but what? Okay, wait. Is it? I ask, what fruit would you live in? Is the question like what fruit would you live in or what fruit would you be? My default answer is always like, I ask people and they're usually like, oh, I live in a watermelon because the shell is hard, it protects me. And then I go around the circle and then everybody's like, what would you live in? And they expect like a very well thought out answer because I'm the one who's asking it. But then I just say, oh, I'd live in a pineapple under the sea.